The CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, made a big whoopsie-daisy during his earnings call. What did he do? Well, he let a few pieces of data out that perhaps he wasn't supposed to say. And then on a hot mic, he shared that he wasn't supposed to say them, even though investors probably wanted them and were, we shall say, deserving of them. So is Disney manipulating, adjusting, and twisting investors in the wind? We'll tell you right now what's happening. Here we go. Hello, folks. Come one and all to the channel that's changing hearts and minds simply by telling the truth. A daily dose of honesty right here, and especially if you're looking for the entertainment industry and how things are going there. Today, we're talking about Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, who slipped up and said something transparent and truthful, and then was caught on a hot mic admitting he shouldn't have done that. It is a very, very funny story, but maybe not if you're an investor. It makes you wonder what else they're hiding. We'll explain. You click the like button. We'll take care of the rest right now. Bob Iger accidentally reveals Disney ad-supported streaming subscriber numbers during the earnings call. Even the best business minds struggle with a hot mic now and again. Tony Maglio is the author here. It's off of IndieWire, and there's something to pay attention to that perhaps this article doesn't go fully into. It says, look, mute, unmute, has gotten us all at one time or another. On Thursday, Disney CEO Bob Iger messed up during the company's fiscal Q4 earnings conference call. Fortunately, what Iger said on a hot mic was not nearly as bad as it could have been, but it did highlight the secrecy of some information he gave out moments earlier. We're going to invert that in just a moment. You'll understand why. When asked by a media analyst about the growth in streaming margins and how it breaks down between subscriber growth and pricing increases, Disney CFO Johnston said it's both, though probably a bit more the pricing increase than the sub growth. Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus all raised prices in October, 1 year after the company's last streaming price hike. We should also add here that Disney Plus was essentially free for the past month. They've been running a promotion where it was $199. They tried to juice the numbers, but juiced they were not. It's not just about raising pricing. It's about moving consumers to the advertising-supported side of the streaming platform, Iger tacked on to Johnston's remarks. So right now in the United States, about 60% of all new subs are buying our streaming services, advertising-supported or AVOD. I think right now it's 37% of the subs in the U.S. are AVOD subs and 30% globally. That's advertising video on demand. You have said too much, Bob. He continued, the pricing that we recently put into place, which is increased pricing, was actually designed to move more people in the AVOD direction because we know that the ARPU and interest in it from advertisers in streaming has grown. ARPU, of course, is average revenue per user. Then later on, Iger, on a hot mic, interjected accidentally, I don't know if I was supposed to disclose those AVOD numbers. Uh-oh. You weren't, Bob. You were not supposed to. Guys and gals, what I think is fascinating about this story, Iger accidentally saying that he may not have been supposed to reveal that, I think it begs the question. When Iger goes in front of investors for these earnings calls, what are they trying to hide? Like, why would this be something that you're not supposed to tell investors? Because investors are in the earnings call, in the earnings report, to find out the most accurate information they can so that they can make good decisions. Why would you be trying to hide that kind of information? I know if you're going to build a new ride and you don't want to announce it for competition, but when it comes to just these statistics that investors need to know, it makes me worry when we hear Bob say on a hot mic catch, I don't know if I was supposed to tell investors the stuff that investors are supposed to know. Oh, I don't know if I was supposed to do that. Oh, man. Panel, what do you make of this? Do you think there's manipulation going on that we should be aware of? Jonas, you were listening in specifically, and Marvin, you as well. I'll give you guys the first go at this. What did you make of Bob Iger slipping up and saying, uh-oh, whoopsie, I said stuff that investors maybe should know, but I didn't want them to know?
It was very much a moment where he was like, oh, no, I was accidentally transparent. And, then got caught on a hot mic about it. Like, it made him come off as just like a snake oil salesman, essentially.
I think his eye twitched when he was accidentally transparent, Marvin. He knew something was wrong. He was like, this goes against my character.
Wait a minute, I just told the truth. He's like the anti-Pinocchio. I think his nose actually grows when he tells the truth.
Well, it inverts. It's actually sinking back into it. Yeah. It's like Michael Jackson.
Right.
Jonas, what were you thinking when this happened? We were doing the Renegade Online show at the time, and we immediately said, what in the world, when he got caught by the hot mic?
Yeah, I think this is something that happened because he and Hugh Johnston were clearly not in the same room. I think Hugh Johnston is in New York or was in New York at the time. And Bob Iger is, he might have even been in Brentwood. Who knows?
Jonas, I'm going to push back because you heard Bob at one point during the meeting say, Hugh, you're muted. So I got the idea that he would have known that. Do you think?
Well, there are ways to get around that. Maybe they have a Zoom session or something.
Yeah, that you're right. Okay, I take back what I said. You're right on that.
So, anyways, the figures were very revealing because if I've still got it going here, it revealed that Disney Plus currently has 36 million ad-supported users globally, which is not a lot, which is pretty close to the amount that Netflix has gained in the last quarter or so. So it isn't a good sign when ad-supported is actually the future of Disney Plus. If they can get that working, then that is a very good sign for the streamer. Then they just have to convert those people into people who actually watch content, which is another reason that the average revenue per user is low, because no one watches Disney Plus.
Tom, you've been watching and you've been analyzing the situation with streaming for a very long time. You do fantastic work over on Midnight's Edge. And as long as I've been listening to you, you've been declaring loudly that streaming was just going to turn into a cable 2.0. With the push to AVOD and Bob Iger perhaps slipping up and saying that, seems to me you've been right the whole way.
Well, I mean, it makes no sense to do what they've been doing. And I mean, I'm not the only one who said it, but I mean, I was one of the earlier people to jump on this thing of streaming's never going to work. Especially if you're going to cut out 3 or 4 of your other revenue streams leading up to it. If anything, streaming was only going to work if it was the last place for these things to go. And Hulu always got popular because they managed to basically replace your VCR or your digital recorder at home, right? Because Hulu had 90% of every TV show the next day. So you didn't have to worry about missing something anymore because it was there. And streaming as a whole is just basically that. It ultimately replaced the home recorder. And I don't think the studios realize that. And you showed the clip earlier from the South Park episode of the Underwear Gnomes. And that's what I compared them to from the very start. These guys are the Underwear Gnomes. They took one look at Netflix and they're like, oh, we want one of those, without thinking about that question mark in the middle about exactly how do you profit. And it's like, okay, the reason that you're profiting from Netflix is because Netflix has everything. Okay, so they have everything and they have every person. And Andre was the person to point this out first, that the streaming war was basically the world's dumbest format war. Because what you ended up having was, this have been the equivalent of during the days of VHS or during the days of DVD or whatever, if every studio had said, you know what, we want to make our own proprietary DVD. So you literally had to buy 5 different systems to watch every studio's films. You couldn't just watch Disney ones on a Universal player. Oh no, you had to have the Universal player for that. Couldn't watch Universal ones on the, Fox and so on and so forth down the line. You just couldn't, right? So that was the way we were kind of headed. And then they finally stepped back and realized this is not profitable. And I highly doubt they've even realized yet the amount of money they've left on the table. Because I've talked about this with Script Doctor and others before. I'm willing to bet the most profitable time in Hollywood was from 1985 to 2005. And you want to know why? Because they had several revenues streams. Like you had the first theatrical run. You had your video, which would be DVD, Blu-ray, video on demand, which at that time was just called pay-per-view. You got it through your cable system, for those who may not remember what that is. And then you had your cable run, which would be your HBO or your Showtime or your Stars. And all these things had big paydays involved with them. And then the last one was always the network premiere. And that was a big fat payday. So like, and this is what Matt Damon was talking about in that Hot Ones episode when he said, like, you could amortize a movie across all these other revenue streams and not have to worry about it making all its money back in theaters. So you can make movies like Rounders, right? Or Goodwill
That was
Hunting.
the redundancy model that was in place.
But no, that's the basic model of it all. They destroyed it all by saying, we're going to send everything straight to streaming 36 to 45 days after it's been in theaters, and then wonder why they're not making any money anymore.
Alan, do you share that assessment that streaming has really damaged the film industry?
The film industry allowed streaming to damage itself.
Oh,
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think, look, the reason Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2 did so well is because they're excellent movies, and people went to go see an excellent movie at the movie theater. They spent the money, made the problem is that there's so much mediocrity out there right now that it's like, well, we're not going to spend the money or the time to go to the movie theater anymore. Come on streaming and go that way. And that's where we're at now. That's where the youth are at now. Unless it's an event, they're not going to the movie theater. They're just going to wait.
No.
So yeah.
And physical media is on the upswing in all forms, whether it's music or movies, because people are starting to realize, I don't own this stuff.
Yeah.
And when something goes away, I can't find it no more.
Or when they screw around with what's
change it.
there. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I don't think Spencer is going to be listening to Bob Iger anymore and thinking, this guy's a truth teller. I'm going to listen to him some more.
No, of course not. I mean, to me, this sort of speaks to the fact that we see this all the time from Hollywood, from, businesses where they love to use not hedging language, but very vague language when they talk to you, right? So they'll go, our subscriber base is way higher than it was last year. Sounds great for investors, but if you break down the numbers, you'll go, oh, okay, they had 10 more subscribers. Okay, yeah, that's technically more than you had, but that's not great. So what Bob did here is, the reason Bob said, shouldn't have done that, is now he's given all of the analysts like us and everybody on Wall Street and all that concrete numbers to hold him to. So we can go, oh, you're claiming you had a big boom in business right now. Well, we know it was all from this one thing. Or, we can tell that you're going all ad supported. It's not as strong as you say. He essentially took away his weapon, his ability to be vague.
Who would have ever thought that the CEO of the biggest entertainment company out there would be saying, golly, gorsh, I didn't mean to give those investor numbers to investors.
Oh, gee willikers, oops.
Oops-a-daisy. And that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. We are done for now, but don't worry. Do not fret. Not yet, for more content is still coming your way 4 times a day right here on the Pro Channel. What a joy it has been to share our time with you. We hope you feel the same. Adding value to your every single day is our job here, and we take it very seriously. Folks, the only thing we ask in return is that you consider clicking that like button. Share, subscribe, click it. Stick it to those algorithms. It's the notification bell. And drop a comment right on down below. And folks, if you'd like to subscribe to our partner YouTube channels, That Park Place, That Pod Place, That Game Place, and some of those radio stations like Vacation Radio, well, we certainly would appreciate it. Until the next time we have the honor of spending time and being invited into your day, folks, we go on our way saying this: keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.